Good morning to all you West Ham fans. Welcome back to the West Ham Network. I'm Anton, and I'm bringing you a little bit of an opinion piece because what a fantastic victory that was against Leeds United. And so many things you can pick up from that game. You can talk about the Declan Rice situation. Is that his last ever game at the London Stadium in a West Ham shirt? Is that Manu's Lanzini's last game at West Ham and at the home turf as well in front of his home fans? Both of them scoring a goal, getting on the score sheet. Maybe the stars were written and everything aligned for them to say goodbye to West Ham. Who knows? Who actually knows? And sometimes when you get all these circumstances come into play, and the fact that West Ham had an emphatic victory against Leeds United, you can forget sometimes some other things, which is individual performances from some of the other players. Now, listen, join Russ later on, where he will be bringing you the player ratings, of course, and it will be interesting to hear your opinions on those. But I want to talk to you about one particular player. Now, when you've got players that have a capability to get thousands and thousands and thousands of fans on your feet because of their genuine ability that's rarely seen in the Premier League, but to have such audacity to do such clever things on the ball. You think of players like Dimitri Payet, Paulo Di Canio, even Joe Cole. That's the players you sometimes think about who are get your bums off the seats type of players. And it's very rare you really see that in the modern game, especially under a West Ham shirt. But this time, man, we've got one. We've got one. It's Lucas Paqueta. The guy's phenomenal. The Brazilian became a record signing last summer. He got a 5-year contract and a deal understood to be worth around £50 million plus add-ons. And there was a large amount of anticipation and excitement around his arrival and the dawning of a new era. Many a West Ham fan felt. But like most things in life, it takes a while for people to settle in and get familiar with their new surroundings. And that happened with Paqueta. It took him a little while to find his right gear, but oh my word, man, has he found his right gear. And he needed time to adjust to the Premier League. And life hasn't been plain sailing for him. David Moyes spoke out several times saying, we need him to adjust. We need him to adjust. We, as fans, felt like it was David Moyes' decision not to play him in that deeper line central midfield role, which is what he does week in or month in and month out when he plays for his Brazilian national team. He got the best success playing in that role when he played for Lyon, but when he played anywhere else, it wasn't that successful for him. So play him in his best position that he knows. And he's a regular and has been and was a regular start for Brazil back in the 2022 World Cup. And he has been hitting his stride for West Ham as of late. In actual fact, he's been hitting his stride for West Ham for quite a while. In actual fact, he was actually really unlucky not to get that run of games even before Christmas when he picked up that shoulder injury before the World Cup against Southampton. That really hit him like a ton of bricks, and it really affected West Ham moving forward with the quality of player that he is. But he doesn't just produce pieces of brilliant skill on the park. It's his overall performance that is something that we need to fully concentrate on. That was his performance for the game against Leeds was instrumental, and it's the only key word you can really focus on when you think of Lucas Paqueta against Leeds United. He was so instrumental in West Ham taking full-blown control of that game. And we started a little bit, as usual, slow, and we quickly trailed to that very good goal from Rodrigo from the volley from a throw-in. But this momentum shifted very quickly as Paqueta started getting hold of the ball. He was driving at the midfield, and that was clearly his main tactic and main quality. My God, man, this guy absolutely knows how to ride a tackle. He's got no fear about him when you look at his heat maps. It's ridiculous the ground he covers, but he covers it really quickly. He seems to kind of have a low center of gravity when he runs. So he seems to glide along the floor a little bit like it's ridiculous what I'm about to say here, but like a hovercraft with legs. Like you watch him, he glides along the grass like it's no problem at all. He's reasonably fast as well. And Robin Koch from Leeds, was overrun by Paqueta. He didn't know how to deal with him at all. And of course, with Paqueta having the likes of Declan Rice beside him, that made matters even worse. He had quick feet. He was astute body positioning to protect the ball. His strength when contesting one on one, all traits he showed off on numerous occasions. But I'm going to go back to him holding off the ball using his strength. When you watch his highlight reels of when he played for Lyon, when you see what he is capable of doing on the ball when he played for Lyon, and now we're seeing it on regular occasion. He actually knows how to get out of tight positions. I remember doing a video on him. I remember doing a scouting report on him before he left Lyon coming to West Ham when we were linked to him. And when you watch him, it's his game's built on pressure. He works so much better under a lot of pressure. That's why he sits in that deep lying role, because he can get out of really tricky situations. He does give the ball away. He does. But that's nothing in comparison to what else he does on the park. Let me give you some of his stats for the game against Leeds. He touched the ball 106 times. I believe the closest player to him in the West Ham team was Declan Rice with 80 touches. It just shows you how effective he is and how important he is to the West Ham team. He was 82% success rate. That's what his pass success rate was. He created 3 chances. He got 1 assist. He had 6 successful dribbles. That's his attacking stuff. But let's talk about defensively. You ready for this? He won 4 tackles. He had 1 interception, 5 ball recoveries. He won 11 ground duels, and he won 4 aerial duels. The guy is relentless, man. The guy gets stuck in. I think he attempted something like 20 odd ground duels. He's no fear whatsoever about his game. And David Moyes himself has previously spoken about the need for players, no matter their price tag, to be given time to adjust to the Premier League. You could say Pablo Fornals was a previous example of someone that needed time to bed into their new surroundings. And Paqueta has also taken his time to settle in, but that's not something Moyes has been unprepared for. And despite that big price tag, David Moyes knew that some of his signings would need time to acclimatise to the Premier League. And a change of tact by West Ham in the transfer market meant that, given usually to sign players would take a bit longer to make that impact than what West Ham fans hope for. And David Moyes said back a while ago when he was talking about the transfer business, he says, I think a lot of teams are looking that way. If you have a model, which we've had some good models in Brentford, Brighton, people, etc., it's for longer. They're probably not absolutely signing for now. They might be just signing for a couple of years down the line. Our model has been more been when they come in, they need to be ready. Probably this year, we bought in quite a few players, and for me personally, not so many of them hit the ground running. But I think Lucas has been the one who has really, really come through now and shown it. It's a good time for us because at the end of the season, we needed him making some goals, helping us get to the final. And obviously, he performed really well against Leeds. There are areas in Paqueta's game that still need fine tuning, absolutely, despite his improvement. But I don't really know how much of the room for improvement there is. Maybe not giving the ball away as much, but when you're a creative player, that's what you expect. Sometimes making the right decisions, I suppose you could say, not overplaying immediately springs to mind because he does like to play that ball through, but he is trying some new things. And equally, though, you need to think about the player who's on the other end of the ball. If he is a forward-thinking, quick-thinking player, then Danny Ings is not going to be on the end of those passes that Paqueta's making. You need someone who's even more forward-thinking, going to make those runs, powerful runs up top. And that's maybe where the excitement comes if Scamacca does come back and has got a future in a West Ham shirt or not. But he does everything else so well. He subtly drops his shoulder. He convinces players going to go one way and goes the other. He quick changes of a pace in the game. He has the ability to beat any player in the park. And to be honest with you, Paqueta should have had a goal himself. He should have. Leeds committed several bodies forwards to expose themselves for the counter. This is what we expected them to throw the kitchen sink at us and for West Ham to counter-attack. And he found himself pretty much one-on-one with the goalkeeper. But in the end, he had to settle for an assist as he set up Manu Lanzini's goal. And it was certainly enough to convince Moyes that things are heading in the right direction. Moyes actually went on and said, I think we're beginning to see someone who we brought in to make an assist, score goals if he could. He looked so much more settled. And still at times, I think, don't do so much, and we're trying to show him that, but he's got it in his blood. He always wants to make the hard pass, which is a good thing because it probably leads to a goal. We need to see it more today, but I thought he was really, really good, exceptionally good, and played a big part of a lot of things we did. Now, Paqueta's first year in a West Ham shirt could end up in us being a European champion and get a place, automatic place in the Europa League for next year. And on the evidence of this performance alone, he's likely to be frontline and centre for the game in Prague. And what a player you want. We need to build around this guy. This is here one of our players for the future. Hold on to him first and foremost and build around him. The guy is an absolute genius on the ball, but a genius all round the park. And it's fascinating to watch him. And he gets the crowd standing, man. He's phenomenal. Little chips over players. His awareness, it's got such a control over the ball. Such a control over the ball. He knows exactly what he's wanting to do with that ball, where it's going to go. But it's just his ability to ride the storm, ride a tackle, get out of a dangerous situation from a deep line area. And like I said, very rarely you'll see him give the ball away. But when he does give the ball away, that's a player who's so creative. You kind of expect that. But for me, this is the geezer. This is the geezer for the new season. You watch him, man. He's had his bedding in period. Let's just hope we do the job to build around him. The focus moves into Prague. I know we've got one more game with Leicester, but you know what, man? We're in a European Cup, and we've got listen, it's 50-50 game, and you need players playing to the best of their ability, and that's what we've got, hopefully, with Paqueta and Declan Rice in the middle of that park. Don't underestimate Tommy Soucek either, because I think he's really effective for the two of them to be able to do what they need to do. Anyway, short, sweet, straight to the point. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave your comments in. Let me know your thoughts on what I've said there about Lucas Paqueta. We do have a superstar in our hands, don't we? We have a special player on our hands. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. It really does support us as well. Please leave a comment. And if you're interested in becoming a channel member, hit that membership option as well. Take it easy, everyone, and come on, you